suddenly snapped. Duncan plummeted down the incline. "Help!" he yelled. "Glug, glug, glug," he said. "Bluggle my broiler." When he approached the chocolate factory, his driver applied the brakes. But Percy's wheels just skidded on the oily rails. "Oh no!" hooted Percy. "Yuck!" he groaned. "I've never been this dirty." His driver tried to stop, but the broken plow hit the water tower. "Cinders and ashes!" exclaimed Thomas.
"On! On!" yelled the cars. "I've got to stop! I've got to stop!" groaned James. Disaster lay ahead.
"Faster! Faster!" they yelled. "No, no!" wailed the empty trucks. "It's Peter Sam." But it was no use. "Hurrah! Hurrah!" roared the trucks. Peter Sam shut his eyes.
The rails were slippery. He couldn't stop in time. Donald wasn't hurt, but Sir Topham Hatt was most annoyed.
"Help! Help!" they wailed. But it was too late. And he puffed inside. Duncan was too excited to think clearly. He puffed straight into a roof support. And suddenly, the roof collapsed behind him. Duncan was trapped.
"That track is closed!" But it was too late. Edward rattled around the bend and straight into a barrier.
And that he had been diverted into a siding. "Look out, Percy!" shouted his driver and applied the brakes. But it was too late. The driver and the fireman had jumped clear. "I can't see a thing," said Thomas. And then before he could even think of anything else... "But my buffers!" cried Thomas.
The brake van passed Gordon, but the tar wagons didn't. Duck had stopped at the crossing at the bottom of the hill. Ofta's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Squashed fruit flew everywhere. Arthur was upset.
But the porters didn't hear him either. Percy gave them such a fright that boxes and bags burst everywhere. "Oh!" groaned Percy.
"Faster!" wheezed Scarloey. Then there was trouble. Rheneas raced right off the track. "Oh no!" cried Scarloey.
Scarloey chuffed happily along. He didn't see the broken rail until it was too late. He dangled dangerously above the water. Help!
The rainbow was just around the corner. And then there was trouble. Thomas hit the telegraph pole, and they all came off the tracks. Luckily, no one was hurt. Cinders and ashes! Stop!
The driver braked hard. Toby stopped, still on the rails.
That's nice. We don't need to stop, said Thomas happily. Yes, we do, called his driver. But it was too late.
The next day, Donald was in a bad mood. Duck could see he was getting too close to the buffers. "Look out!" he shouted, but it was too late.
Said Percy, sliding past the board. Percy was frantic. "That's enough!" Percy was sunk.
Then there was trouble. The track was broken, and Spencer was too heavy. With a creak and a crack, the track snapped beneath him. The mighty Spencer slid into the muddy marsh.
I'm winning, gasped Oliver. But it was too late. Oliver lay bruised and bemused, bunker down in the turntable well.
Then, Thomas made his mistake. "Just like this," he boasted. "No!" Mavis cried. But it was too late.
Instead, they saw an old station. Disaster lay ahead.
And he pushed forward into the landslide. Thomas was up to his buffers in mud and stones. He tried to push on, but he couldn't. He tried to back out, but he couldn't. Thomas was stuck.
Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond.
But Thomas and Diesel couldn't see them. They raced backwards towards Harry and Bert. With a crash and a bang, Thomas and Diesel smashed Harry and Bert right through the back of the engine sheds. Stones and timber flew everywhere. Bust my buffers. Uh-oh.
The branch line couldn't take his weight and the rails buckled. "Oh, help!" Gordon cried as he slid off the tracks and into a field. No one was hurt, but poor Gordon felt very undignified.
One moment, everything seemed safe. But then suddenly, Falcon was derailed and hung dangerously over the edge.
He was so cross that he didn't see the signal telling him to stop. And he didn't see the goods train ahead until it was too late. Luckily, no one was hurt. But Gordon came off the rails and he was covered in gooey red jelly. Then there was trouble. The tall funnel of the old barge crashed through a pipe. James was sure he'd get covered in sludge. But he didn't.
Then there was trouble. Thomas was puffing too fast round the bend. He toppled off the track. His load crashed down the bank. "Oh no," cried Thomas.
Bumping the cars fiercely, he jerked his driver off the footplate and followed them into the siding. "Come back!" yelled his driver. "Fire and smoke," said Thomas. "I'm sunk." And he was.
"I'll decide what we do," he huffed to himself. So James applied his brakes. The train smashed into the snow. And it stuck.
Peter Sam shot forward. He bashed into his flatbed so hard they burst through the buffers, smashed through oil drums stacked on the wharf, and splashed into the canal.
Trying to grip the rails, Percy slid into the yard. Peep, peep! Look out! The brake van was in smithereens.
The driver reduced steam, but Gordon was still going too fast. Help me, please!
Suddenly, the coupling snapped, and Stanley's trucks rolled away, faster and faster. The engines gasped as Stanley's train came racing down the hill. It smashed into the tower. As the tower crashed to the ground, bricks and dust exploded everywhere.